Good morning. It's Wednesday, July 6th, 2016. Hi. Look, I'm making it 2 weeks in a row. Yeah. So I'm kind of going into today a little bit unprepared and blind, and I know that shocks a lot of you. But I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about today. I have a charity, I have my hours, all that jazz. I just didn't know what my main meat and potatoes was going to be. I did have somebody suggest to me, excuse me, I did have somebody suggest that I talk a little bit about how to de-stress after the holidays, after the 4th of July, after the big fireworks and drinking and too much sun and all that jazz. So I'll talk a little bit about that. For example, if you got too much sun, do something about it. Don't get too much sun in the first place. I mean, there's such a thing as getting some sunshine in your system, but don't wreck your skin by getting so tan that you start to burn and peel. That's not good for your skin. Makes your skin older, quicker, and tougher, and not as nice. The C word. But if you do find that you got burnt and you're starting to peel, anything with like an aloe base would be good for that. What I actually use is I have a tincture on hand of calendula, which is like a type of marigold. I steep it in witch hazel, and then I put it in a little spray bottle, and I can spray that on areas that have been burnt before they start to really blister and peel and stuff. So take care of your skin if you did get a little too much sun. If you overindulged, make sure that you drink a little extra water. And if you overindulged in both alcohol and food, or if you overindulged in sun, make sure you drink a little extra water. We're supposed to be getting roughly half a gallon of water a day anyway. Get a little bit more if you can to kind of flush some of that stuff out of your system and help your body to regenerate and repair itself. If you're sunburnt and you drink a little bit of extra water, that little water helps to hydrate the skin and help the skin to heal a little bit quicker too. If you're fighting with tension migraines, if you're fighting with heat migraines, take a cold can of soda and hold it sideways like this and bring it up behind your head. Of course, you won't want to do it with something this big. Cold can of soda is about the right size. But if you go up underneath that bone of your skull, up under there, it's the, I think it's called the occipital bone, and you bring it up just a little bit, the combination of the pressure of that can, the shape of that can, and the coolness from that can will actually deaden some of those nerves for a little bit, some of those pain receptors, and that'll allow some of that headache to get drawn back and brought away from the front of your head where it hurts so bad. Get some sleep. Make sure that you sleep a little bit extra to catch up on all the sleep you missed while you were listening to all your neighbors' fireworks. You want to guess what I've been listening to? All my neighbors' fireworks. But yeah, my 4th of July was actually pretty cool. I put some extra hours in this week because 4th of July, and I play in bands. So I started my day out. Dan and I went downtown, and we have Wisconsin's largest frying pan comes on I think Memorial Day and 4th of July. And it's this guy with this frying pan that is big enough for like 5 or 6 full-grown men to stand around and cook in. It's really pretty neat. So they cook, they do like a scrambled egg with ham and cheese in it, and then they do hash browns. And they can do it in separate areas of the frying pan because the frying pan is it's like this big. This big. I'm telling you, it's this big. It comes with its own heating elements and everything. It's pretty neat. Sorry, my nose itches this morning. So we started breakfast there with that and some, they're Glazers. They're not Krispy Kremes, but they're like the Quick Trip knockoff of the Krispy Kreme donuts, little Glazers, and orange juice and milk and coffee. So we got all of that, and they charge pretty decent prices for that. So we started our day with that, and then around lunchtime, one of the neighbors, she plays saxophone as well, but one of the neighbors and I took off to go hop onto the band float, and so we played with the Dole County Community Band. and did our usual two songs on the float. We did Drumming in the Saints, which is an arrangement of When the Saints Go Marching In, and the Beer Barrel Polka. And it was a great crowd this year. There were a lot of people out in the crowd this year, and it seemed like the parade went a little bit longer. But what's kind of neat is every year when we do Beer Barrel, there's always somebody on the parade route that hops out in the middle of the street alongside of the float, and they start doing polkas. Here in Wisconsin, polkas are pretty important. I always thought people were joking about them and that they were kind of a thing of the past, but I used to play in a community band up here that had the philosophy that if you didn't play at least one polka every concert, you would be arrested. And people love their polkas. We play a polka every night at the Dual County performances, I'm pretty sure. Marches are still really big. It just kind of surprised me. So we did the parade, and then Dan's folks came to visit, and we went out and had a wonderful lunch over by Hooker's, which is like a bar and restaurant. So during the daytime, they're kind of bar food, but their bar food's amazing. We got some really wicked cool burgers. They're a grill your own for dinner, and I don't care for that myself. If I'm going to grill my own steak, I'll buy the steak, I'll take it home, I'll grill it in the comfort of my own house. And then later on that evening, around 8 o'clock or so, we went to Friesland, and I played with the Friesland Community Band, who I've just started with this summer. And Friesland plays for about an hour before their fireworks took off. So I didn't really see a lot of fireworks because by the time I got done with all the outside and peopling and playing clarinet, I think I practiced some in the morning, so by the time I was done playing clarinet, I think I'd put about 3.5 hours of clarinet in on my day. By the time we got done playing at Friesland, all I wanted was to go home where it was dark and quiet and cool. So we pulled over to the side of the road and watched a couple of little community fireworks before pulling into the house, but we really only watched just a couple minutes. But I mean, it was a pretty good 4th of July. This last week also brought a few anniversaries for me and for Dan. Dan and I have now had our house for 4 years. Last week marked the... Man, I am so sorry, I'm itchy. Last week marked the anniversary of my hysterectomy, which is 5 years. Last week also marked the anniversary of Dan and I meeting 19 years ago. Poor guy, I told him he should have run. And it also marked, most importantly for me, it marked my 20-year anniversary of being in Wisconsin. I moved to Wisconsin to get out of Kansas. That's the long and short of it. There's a lot more to it, of course. But the long and the short of it is, I moved to Wisconsin to get out of Kansas. I love Wisconsin. It's a beautiful state. Nobody told me the winters were this bad. Nobody told me the summers were this bad. But it's a beautiful state. It's worth it. It seems like it's green all year round, even when it's snowy out. There's a lot of evergreen trees, and I wasn't used to that much green when I first moved up here. Because when I grew up in Kansas, everything was brown. You know, you got about 2 weeks of spring, and you got about a week or two of fall when things were greenish. But the rest of the time, everything was either dead because of wintertime or dead because of summertime because it was so hot and dry. I mean, when you look at what the primary crops are wheat and corn, and wheat goes golden, so there's brown, and you've got all those tassels in the corn, and corn will go brown, and I liked all the green up here. It was real pretty. The wildlife up here is more interesting, I think. Beautiful birds, interesting animals. We get some wildlife in our backyard. I've got a really neat picture of a fox that I took last summer. We see deer, they come almost up to our door, and we're in town. Not in a big town, but we're in town. Right now, we've got a rabbit that seems to think our driveway is home, and so we see a lot of Mr. Rabbit. And we have cranes nearby. I hear cranes. On occasion, I can hear a loon, which is really cool. I'd never heard loons before. All kinds of birds fly over, so it's a really neat area for wildlife. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to share a little bit of myself with you today. I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of dragged out from the festivities, and you know, just that was my plan for the day, I guess. So on the topic of all this really neat wildlife and stuff, today's charity is the Audubon Society, and you can find them at audubon.org, which is AUDUBON.org. And the Audubon was started in around 1896. Its very, very, very first meetings that were to become the Audubon Society happened when a couple of women, I believe in Massachusetts, met with their small social circle of women and tried to encourage them to not use the feathers of birds in their fancy hats. Audubon Society primarily focuses on the environmentalism for birds, but they do also have a lesser focus on other wildlife. But most people are familiar with Audubon because of their birds. In fact, I even have, let's see if I can get a good shot of it. So this is a picture of a barred owl, and this particular tattoo is an actual Audubon drawing that we had replicated on my arm. And it represents my grandmother. My grandmother had such a thing for owls, and it's one of 2 tattoos that my grandmother actually approved of. None of the rest of them really passed by Grandma's okay. That's one of them. The other one is the purple heart that I have on my ankle for my grandfather. But anyway, so the Audubon is, it has multiple chapters and multiple units all across the United States. They have nearly 500 local chapters nationwide. They provide education for everything from students to lawmakers. They catalog and prioritize what kinds of birds need the most help, what habitats need the most help to protect those birds. They allow for citizen scientists to help to collect data about different kinds of birds and environments. They have a magazine that allows you to see what they're up to on a much more regular and current basis. And there are centers and sanctuaries all over the United States that allow different people to learn about the environments that they're in and the creatures that live in them. So I'm going to drop their link down below with a little bit of a mission statement for them. And I hope you kind of read up on them and enjoy that. And, okay, hours. So I had set my new goal at 250. So I am at 114 as of today. 114 hours into my goal of 250 community service hours for the year. Still plugging. Here we go. And I hope you guys are out there plugging along too. I know at the beginning of the year I challenged you, I believe, to a 50-hour a year community service, or maybe an hour. Or 100 hours, but definitely 50. I hope you guys are out there putting your best effort toward that too. For some of us, it's easier to catch it during the wintertime, during Christmas, because Christmas has a lot of available options. But what I want you to think about is, while there are a lot of opportunities at Christmas time to do volunteerism, and that's greatly appreciated at Christmas time, because Christmas time is the time when people feel most lonely, don't forget that those same people that are lonely at Christmas time are lonely the other 11 months too. Get into your nursing homes, adopt somebody. Even if you go into the wards where people are comatose or people are non-responsive, a lot of nursing homes will allow you to just go in and put lotion on hands. That physical contact goes a long way to these people. They may not show it, you may not see it, but believe me, that's a benefit. Reading to people who are non-responsive is also a good thing. Volunteering with your local daycares if they'll let you, if they're small enough daycares. Volunteering with civic activities. There's all kinds of things that you can do to get out there and help. Remember, there's more than just Christmas time. So anyway, I'm going to wrap. Oh, you like the new green? I have a wedding I'm doing this weekend. This is the bride's request. She wanted something turquoisey. This is something turquoisey. She's doing purple. I wanted to do purple, but it's not my wedding. I'll do purple after the wedding. So anyway, I hope you guys have a great week. I will log off now, and I'll see you again next Wednesday. Have a good one. Be safe. Have fun. Bye.